Terve ja tervetuloa. Hello and welcome to the last episode of Finnish Tales of Integration at the University of Turku, Season 1, a podcast by international student ambassadors. I am Junaid, a master's student in health technology and an international student ambassador at the University of Turku. And I am the host for today's episode. In this series, we're here to guide you through the ins and outs of life in Finland and help you navigate your integration journey at the University of Turku. From practical tips to sharing personal experiences, we'll provide the insights you need to make your transition as smooth as possible. In today's episode, we'll discuss the vision for a global Turku, a conversation with the mayor on supporting internationals with our special and respectful guest, Minna Arve, who is mayor of the historic and vibrant Turun Kaupunki, which is the city of Turku, and the first vice president of International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives, Europe. Minna is also a University of Turku's alumna who graduated in 2004 with a master's degree in economics. So without any further delay, let's get started. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today at this podcast. So the very first question I would like to start with is, how does it feel to be back on the campus again?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the invitation. It feels very good to be back at the campus. Yeah, but I have to admit, I have been there since 2004, quite frequently. I'm actually doing, or maybe doing is not the right verb, but basically I'm still a master's student in future studies.
Oh, that's
But yeah, doing those studies has been a little bit, on hold because the work has been so hectic and so on. But I still have this strong passion for studying and being curious and finding out new things. And what things I'm really passionate about is about future and how we should be able to not maybe predict, but project different futures and how we can do our work here, for instance, in the city of Turku, so that we will create a better future.
Well, you're kind of a perfect example of how learning doesn't have any age restriction, because considering that you're a mayor and you're already in a quite busy position and you still manage to get time for your further studies, that's actually quite impressive. So to get started with this further, the first question that I would like to ask is, what steps has the city of Turku taken to support international students and residents in integrating into the community?
First of all, I would like to start with that kind of idea that we have behind of this thinking about city and city's residents and how we want to welcome everyone to the city. And I think it's very, very important that city has this attitude and a kind of desire to welcome everybody into the city. I keep saying that everyone who has chosen to have home here in Turku is a resident of Turku and part of this community, and that's what I want to work for. We have this kind of 4 years program for one council period. It's called Mayoral Program, and there we state that Turku is an open, international, and active city, and I think that's very important. And then coming to this, what we are doing and how much we are working with for instance, with the international students, we have International House Turku, which was, I think you might have already mentioned that.
Yep.
And there was someone here earlier in this podcast from International House of Turku. And yeah, I think that's the kind of most concrete thing that we are doing, and where we are having this platform for integrating and welcoming people to Turku and sharing the knowledge how to live in Turku and how to help find all kind of everyday issues which might be a little bit different than people are used to it at their home countries, and try to struggle with the bureaucracy in Finland and in Turku as well. Whatever things there are in everyday life, what you face, how you find contacts with different, let's say, like hobbies, and that we are that with different people. And actually how you bring people together in also under that platform, that welcoming groups of people to discuss together with what kind of problems they might have or what they could, what kind of advice they would need. So these kind of things, and also a little bit kind of learning Finnish, everyday Finnish at least, that helps you struggle here in the city. Though, which come to my mind that in Finland we nearly all speaks English. Everyone speaks English. And that's not always very good, because then you really easily go into that mode that you start discussing in English, and it's maybe not that easy to practice your Finnish or try to use it. And anyway, I think it's good to have at least a little bit knowledge, even though you would stay for a shorter period here. And maybe that brings you something that welcomes you to stay longer.
Well, these are some quite good initiatives that you have mentioned. Even though the most common goal of this podcast is to put emphasis on how important it is to learn the language, because when you have to integrate into some society, you definitely need to know the language, their culture. So I think International House Turku is already doing quite well, and they are providing these services. So the next question would be, how does Turku aim to make itself more attractive to international talent, especially students and professionals that are coming to Finland, or especially in Turku, or planning to come here?
I think one of the things that for students, and especially for those students who might think that finding their career here in Turku as well, or in Finland in generally, it's very important to kind of find those contacts with the companies as well. I think in bigger companies, they are already quite used to have different background people working in the organizations, but smaller companies, maybe not. And this is something I think it's quite general in Finland, that smaller companies are not, are a little bit afraid of hiring the first, worker or employer who is not having Finnish as a language to use, and maybe they are afraid about how it works. If you have to talk about in English or discuss in English about work-related issues, how it changed the culture in the company. But I know also very fairly that everyone who has had this experience, they have been very, very happy and very satisfied with the the result and how it works and how easy it actually was. And I think there is a lot of things to do in with the companies, so that you encourage them to take, for instance, practices or trainees, which is kind of easy way to get used to it, and also for the students to find those practice and trainee places where they can then more easily have experience working in Finland, how the working life is working actually in real life and so on, and then that try to find those companies. So basically what I think we still need to do better, which we are already doing a bit, is for instance, I've been talking a lot with the Chamber of Commerce, that they could, within their network where they have I don't know, maybe nearly 3,000 companies as members in the Chamber of Commerce, to encourage to take trainees and especially for the smaller companies, and also share those experiences that others have. And then also how to connect students with the companies, because that's also quite important. It's not very easy for an international student. It's not very easy always for the Finnish background student either to find those contacts for the companies. And these kind of platforms should be a little bit more thought about in the future as well.
Regarding finding contacts, since I've arrived in Finland, I've been hearing this quite a lot. Like most of the jobs, it depends on networking, because there are mostly internal hirings, and for that you need to do the networking, get in contact with the appropriate person.
And there is now the reform in Finland in what comes to the employment services, and starting actually from the first day of this year, the responsibility for employment services now is on municipalities, not anymore for the state as it used to be. So I think there is also a lot of possibilities, especially in this regard, how to create those networking places, how to bring people and the companies together, maybe also digital platforms, which are nowadays the kind of more, how to say, more more for use because it's still
like
a little bit easier and everyone are used to for digital platforms working with them and networking via them as well. So yeah, I think this is also a possibility. But it is really important, this networking, and for networking you need those places where to meet people, is it digital or in real life. So that's important.
I think this digital thing, it helps a lot, because I myself, whenever I need to see what events are happening around in the city of Turku, I just directly visit the City of Turku's website, and from there I can just easily find out what are the events, what are the upcoming events, so I can just go there and participate in it. So this has improved quite a lot, the digitalization thing, and now you don't need to depend on anyone. You just can simply go over the internet and look for anything that you want. So, well, if we ask about your vision, what is your vision for the future of Turku, especially in terms of growth, sustainability, and innovation, considering that you're already a vice president for International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives? So, what's your vision about it?
My vision is strongly about the city which is happy, sustainably growing, and a very, how to say, a strong community for everyone. So where you can really feel that you are belonging to. And I think this is what I'm working quite a lot. What comes to sustainability in regards of climate and nature, that's where we are working a lot here in the city of Turku. We are going to be carbon neutral by 2029, which is quite soon. And that's the year when the Turku is celebrating its 800th anniversary also. So it's, I think, a good goal and a good timing. We have been in front line of this green transition in many ways, and I'm really proud of that work that we have been doing. We have been working really much about it, and we have been very unanimous in the city council also about the importance of this goal. And nowadays also it's coming more, thinking about not only the climate and the reduction of the emissions, but also taking into consideration the biodiversity, urban parks, like the nature around us, and how important is that. It's important for people for well-being, but it's also very important for finding this sustainable way for seeing how globe is surviving in the future. So it's not only about emissions and reducing CO2 emissions, but also strengthening the biodiversity and giving the nature the possibility to support us in that. How we can do that, there is a lot of things that are good for the innovation and also for the economy, like circular economy ways. They are quite often tools for both kind of finding solutions for biodiversity, but also reducing emissions. And there is a lot of circular initiatives, a lot of R&D done in the companies, a lot of research done in universities and universities of applied sciences. And combining these three is very, very important. I have a good example about how you can combine all these, and I want to share with you. It's about our wastewater management plant in Turku. So basically it's managing all the wastewaters from this region, and it's saving our archipelago sea. So basically the water is so clean that you can swim in it after the process. And actually I have been swimming in our river. So I proved it.
Nice.
But it's not only about that. At the same time, it's producing a lot of distance heating, like 10% of our distance heating capacity in the area of city of Turku. So it's also sustainable and way for producing energy without any emissions. 10% of our distance heating is quite a lot, and it's coming from that wastewater via heat pumps. And not only these two, but it also creates some sludge after the process, and that's used for biogas production. So you have a beautiful example of strengthening kind of water biodiversity and making protection for our archipelago sea, how you can create energy without emissions, and how you actually can make a business out of even from the end results as a biogas. So these kind of things we need to do, and this is very nice innovation. One more thing I want to raise up here about my vision is how we build a sustainable city. Is also sustainability is not only environmental or climate issues, it's also social sustainability and economical sustainability. So these all aspects are very important. And while we are building a new city is growing like more than ever. We are now already 206,000 people in the city of Turku. So we need to think about how we plan our new areas, new city areas, new districts, that they are really sustainable so that they would not create that kind of segregation that's already being created in the city of Turku as well. At the same time, while we are thinking about these areas which are segregated, how we can work with that. And then economical sustainability is that we need to be also, as a city of Turku, as an organization, taking care of our own economy, but also kind of bringing dynamic into the local economy so that it creates activity. So there are companies, there are working places and jobs for students and for everyone to come here. And it's kind of positive round that companies want to come here, invest in here while they know that this is a place which is interesting place for the young people. We are having a lot of students. We have universities of applied science, vocational schools, people moving in, a lot of work, kind of working possibilities and a lot of knowledge and also these kind of skills that we have here. So that's my kind of vision in a little bit broad explanation.
Well, that's quite good, because I've been following you on LinkedIn as well, and I have already seen you how serious you are about the sustainability and environmental issues, because these issues I think are the most crucial one, and that needs to be addressed before it gets too late. So I also like the idea of how you are combining the environmental issues, and you're also focusing on how the Turku and Finland overall can grow economically. So I think these are some good initiatives there.
Yeah, and I want to still a little bit come to this and my position as a vice president of ICLEI. So I'm working quite a lot internationally also with the climate issues and biodiversity as well as circularity. And I think that's very important, even though we are a city here in North, in a welfare society where we have a lot of kind of maybe quite good possibilities to work locally. But then we can also give an example. I encourage cities and decision makers all around the world to work with these issues, even though they might have a much more severe conditions or lack of financing. So we can still support and show example and encourage that it's possible. It's possible to do in that way that you create at the same time positive local economy effects where the economy is growing. You find new jobs with these innovations for different solutions, and also support colleagues all around the world. And then a little bit challenge our national governments all around the world to work a little bit harder, because I think they are not doing their work still as good that they could.
So if we concluded, like, the goal is not to just fix things around her, but to be a good role model for the others, so that they could just look up on you, and they could follow your examples, how you have implemented them and how you have improved yourself so far.
Yes, and also to learn from others, because we don't,
Exactly.
don't know everything here.
Because learning never stops, no matter what.
Learning never stops, and it's really, really good to see how different cities are struggling and finding different solutions, and there is always a lot of things to learn from others.
Yeah, that's great. So moving on to the next question, which is, what are some of the key challenges Turku faces as it grows into a more international city, and how is the city addressing them?
International. I think Turku is international from the very kind of DNA level. Turku was never founded, but it was kind of people moved around Aura River to do the trade between different countries already, speaking in the year of kind of around 1,000 and something.
Yeah, okay.
And the first knowledge about City of Turku was from 1229, why we are celebrating our 800 years anniversary in a couple of years. So basically that's kind of very idea why the city has settled here to do the international trade. And of course, after that, there's been a lot of people coming and going all the time during the centuries, from the very beginning until up to today. And I hope to see that kind of continuing in the future as well. And I think it's about the attitude. It's about mind, kind of state of mind also, that you want to be open. You want to see the world with possibilities, not only with threats. And you want to be part of kind of that creating those possibilities. And also, of course, bringing welfare here with that internationalization. It's skills, it's new people, new ideas. And that's the very idea of the cities in general, that bring different people together, and then they bring up new ideas and innovations. And I think that's the most beautiful way to also to define the city, that it's a place where the strangers meet. And then you create a lot of things with that. And that's, I think it's very, very important for cities to be international, be very proactively international, welcome international students, but not only students, but immigrants also to the city of Turku to work and base their home here, but also be part of society. So it's not only about welcoming, but it's also wanting to be people to build together with us this city and this society. And I think that's also very important. And it's not only one way around, it's always the dialogue and kind of being together.
And I think providing someone who has moved here to trying to integrate within the society, and if you provide them a chance to actually contribute in the society, that I think creates the relationship from both ways and not from the fun.
Exactly.
So,
because you have to kind of feel that you are part of the society also.
Exactly.
To give yourself also something from yourself as being part of that. And I think it's very important. And thinking about this time that we are living at the moment, where there is a lot of polarization and harsh talk everywhere in the citizen level, but also national leaders are having quite harsh talk, and it creates quite negative surroundings and negative atmosphere. So I think it's very important that there are voices and places where you can feel more secure, feel comfortable, we see more possibilities and than threats, and also build that community together without that kind of polarization. I think it's possible. I know it's hard, and it's always easier to raise up fears than hope and togetherness. But I think that's my responsibility and also kind of our example that show that this is what we're working for, and we want to be part of that. And then there you have to have a kind of balance, try to bring everyone on the same, not bring together, but kind of that everyone feels that they could be part of something that is shared.
And I think these factors, they ultimately lead towards the inner encouragement, and that's when you feel like you're at home. And when you feel that way, you then always decide to contribute in a positive manner within any society. So I think these are some very important factors there. So if you were to share any upcoming projects or initiatives that listeners should be excited about in Turku?
Well, absolutely. Our 800 years anniversary will be a huge project, and it starts already now. The way there starts already now. We launch first steps in December. How we are including and inviting everyone to be part of that journey to 2029. And I'm really sure that there is possibilities to anyone to bring up any ideas for students, the students' organizations, universities, our neighborhoods around the city, our for our companies, every organization working here to bring something into that year. And I think that I really hope that that will be the journey and the year that really makes us a stronger community. And that's something I'm really, very excited at. We have been investing a lot into the culture in many ways. We are building a new music hall here in Turku, but we have also a house of art, which is bringing artists and for instance, smaller theaters together. And in that way, bringing a different kind of place for everyone to kind of with a very easy way to go and feel and kind of explore the culture in different ways. And I think that's also one very strong political decision that we have made in Turku, that we see culture as a transformative power for the city. So it can transform the city to be even more open and even more active and maybe also a little bit more fun, which I think is also very important in regards of the living in a city and bringing something for everyone. Those things are very much I'm very inspired at. And also, of course, the work that we are doing with this urban nature, because I think that's something that everyone can also be part of and think about what they can do and contribute, because it can be very small issues and then it can be large scale issues, and the small things can be scalable. So if you have a good idea and then you think about that, you could do something and then you bring up everyone to be part of that. So then actually you feel that you have a lot of things happening around, and I also think that that's something that I would like to see everyone more to be contributing. So these kind of things I really feel very strongly, and I'm inspired every day while I'm coming to the work. And
And you've mentioned about the ideas that anyone can bring. Can you please elaborate that a bit? What type of ideas that could be, or like is it should be focused on a specific topic, or it can be anything?
Well, it could be anything. We are now working so that we are organizing the the biggest workshops in the world, to opening these kind of open workshops to everyone or anyone to attend and bring their ideas, that what could that 2029 be part of, what kind of teams, what kind of projects, what city could do, what everyone could do. So I would like to encourage everyone to take part of these workshops. They will be advertised when we know the dates. They will be during this springtime, because then we are kind of working with the project plan for the next coming years. And there will be possibilities after that also to attend and bring ideas. But this will be the first start, this big workshop for planning for that year. So you are all very welcome to take part of that.
Sure we will. And it will definitely be advertised on the City of Turku's website.
It will be. Yeah. We haven't yet set the date, so that's I could not market it yet. But the idea I can market.
Yeah, no worries. So what message do you have for international students or new residents arriving in Turku, or those who are already arrived and settling in Turku?
My message would be that be just open and take part for everything. Come to those international house. They have these meetings and so on. They are very easy to attend and very accessible in many ways. So it's easy to come there, and everyone is a little bit stranger at the first, but then you have one community, and then it's easier to broaden up your community. Say hi to your neighbors when you see them, and even though Finns are a little bit more quiet than some nationalities, and they tend to say that we here in Turku are even more quiet. But we are very good-hearted, and we are welcoming people who wants to build their life here and wants to build their home here in Turku. And I really wish that you can also bring those ideas and notes and marks that might be something that we haven't yet taken into consideration as a city organization. But just I think the people of Turku is the best that we have, and everyone here is good-hearted people and hardworking people, and they want to build their city and their community, and they might be a little bit shy in the beginning, but when you find a friend you find a Finn as a friend, you will have a friend forever. So I hope that will be true for everyone, and that my personal wish is that those who are trying to build their life here, not only for the studies but for the longer period, that I would see many of those staying here in Turku and being kind of active residents in the city. And not everyone has to be active. You can just live here and enjoy the city.
And just be another quiet person here. Right?
Yeah. Then you're very Finn already.
Yep. And one comment if we ask from you about the language learning, how do you emphasize that?
I think language is the way to the culture as well. So I think the language is very important. You can easily survive in Finland without having any knowledge of the Finnish language. Everyone is speaking English, and it's as I mentioned in the earlier, it's easy to go just on that way. But if you really want to be part of the society and understand also the Finns a little bit more, so the language is the key for that. And it's easiest way to not make it very hard way always to try to learn the grammar. It is a little bit difficult, but just go and learn basics. Then you can go for the hobbies and meet other Finns and just be, how to say, very stubborn in using Finnish language and say, no, I want to speak Finnish, not English, and help me with that. So that's the way to learn in everyday life. That's the easiest way to learn to use it in everywhere. Right? Just with.
So it's more about learning it and then actually implementing it in the real world so that you get better at it day by day.
Yeah, and of course you need some basic studies for that. I don't want to undermine that, but I still think that it's when you have the basics, then it's easier to use the everyday language. And that's already quite a lot. So you don't have to be perfect in Finnish grammar in order to use the language. I know by myself, I've been always that kind of person that just started to using my language. Is it Swedish or English or others? And I realized that it's not always perfect, but still, I think we always kind of find the understanding between.
And I think that's enough. You just need to be expert enough to get what the other person is saying, and then you'll able to answer that as well. Plus, I think the courses that are offered by university itself along with our degree, they are quite helpful as well. I myself have taken Finnish 1 and now I'm already enrolled in Finnish 2. So these courses helps a lot to like, it's a good way to get started at the language.
And especially then when you are staying longer and kind of basing your life here, then you face all kind of bureaucracy, which is always a little bit difficult. It can be difficult for a Finn as well sometimes. So there you help if you have understanding also about the language. So because the language is the key for the understanding the minds and cultures, also sometimes the bureaucracy.
Exactly. So the last question would be, how can students and internationals get involved in the community and contribute to Turku's growth? I know we've already covered it in some questions, but if to be very specific, how would you like to address that?
Well, we covered quite a lot of it. I think it's those places where you can meet people. You go, you have your hobbies, you have those, for instance, this international house, they're having good meetings, but then this networking thing with the companies, I think there is a lot of things to do, and there already is a lot of networking possibilities, but finding them, I don't know how easy is that always. And cultural happenings, art exhibitions, whatever there is a possibility to meet people. And I always, I'm a very optimistic person, and kind of always think that when people meet, but when there's a place where people meet, you can always also meet a new person and experience maybe something together in some art exhibition or some cultural event is a very strong commitment with another person, and it's a quite easy way also to relate, as well as hobbies. If you go, there's a lot of possibilities in the city of Turku to do nearly whatever you want to do. For students, it's of course a little bit even more easier because you have student exhibition, students events, and both only for international students, but for everyone, and going to those where you meet also other students than only exchange students. I think that's very important. And if you really want to be part of the staying here for longer, then it's good to come out from that level that you are only meeting with the other exchange students or persons coming from your own country, but open up and try to find those places where you meet others as well. I think that's very, very important.
Yeah, and like if you just stay within that shell where you're just meeting people from the same culture, then I don't think so you'll be having any growth or any knowledge about what the current culture is where you're living. So that's I think quite a good point that you stated here, to just open up to almost every culture and every person, try to meet and integrate with them.
And there's a lot of associations in Turku and in Finland. Finland is a promised country for a different kind of association you can find nearly, and but they are also offering a lot of this kind of different topics for discussions, or they are organizing sports or whatever. So there is a huge amount of opportunities. Finding them, I don't know how easy that is always, but there you can get help from the International House Turku or from your students' organizations and so on. So you will find
and I think it always comes down to your own motivation. How much do you want to integrate into the society? So if you have that, you'll always find a way to integrate in the society. So well, I think this is it, and I'm just going to give a quick recap about this episode. In this episode, we had the pleasure of hosting Minna Arve, the mayor of the historic and vibrant city of Turku. Minna shared her insights on the city's effort to support and integrate international students and residents, from fostering a welcoming community to enhancing Turku's global appeal for talent. She highlighted initiatives that focus on sustainability, innovation, and growth. We also delved into her vision of Turku's future, addressing challenges and unveiling exciting projects on the horizon. Turku is a city of opportunity, and everyone has a role in shaping its dynamic future. Stay tuned as we explore how you can get involved and make Turku your home. Thank you again for sharing your insights, and thank you for the audience to listening it. And thank you for tuning in to the last episode of Finnish Tales of Integration at the University of Turku Season 1. We hope you gain valuable insights and feel more prepared for your integration journey. Season 1 ends with this episode, but whether we return for Season 2 depends on the response we receive from you. We've put in our time and effort to bring you meaningful content, so please like, share, and subscribe to the University of Turku's channel. Feel free to give us feedback. We would love to hear from you as we wrap up this season. We want to remind you to mark your calendars for our upcoming event on Ustavan Paiva, which is Friendship Day, on 14th of February at TSE Mercatori. A great opportunity to connect with fellow students and share experiences. Don't forget to fill out the registration form to ensure your participation in the event. The link will be to that would be attached in the description. Until next time, stay engaged, stay connected, and remember, your integration story is our story.